What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today, I got something a little bit special, actually super special, I guess. This doesn't happen very often for the channel. This is kind of like a once or twice type of deal, but the developers of Crashlands reached out probably 6 months ago, and they were like, hey, if we had like an exclusive build of the first chapter of Crashlands 2 in the works, would you be interested in showing that off? Because we know you played the last game, right? We know you liked the last game. For those of you that never saw the first Crashlands game, because I'm dating myself now, it's been a big gap in between Crashlands 1 and Crashlands 2. Crashlands 1 was a game that was very, very viral, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. I might be off with my numbering. Maybe it's 5 years ago. I don't know. I don't have time to tab out and go look and see when the first game came out. But it's been a little while since the first game came out. It was a game that was a lot like Don't Starve, but with like a very, very kind of ruthless sense of humor. Like the whole thing was very tongue-in-cheek. The second game is now arriving, and the developers have given us here at the Nerd Castle access to an exclusive build that includes like the first 25 hours of the game so that we can check it out and figure out if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or otherwise pass on. If after watching this you wanted to get the game for yourself, too bad it's not out yet. This is an exclusive preview. But if you did want to put the game on your wish list for when it is actually out, there's a Steam link down below in the description. You can check that out there. I don't know what their plans are, if it's going to start out in early access or if it's going to be like a full 1.0 release when it comes out. Not privy to a lot of that information. They were just like, here's a build, go have fun. And I have been having fun. So I've been playing for about 45 minutes to an hour. I didn't want to get too far into what is effectively a limited build just for showing off the game, but I've been having a good time with it. There's one or two things that I've noticed that are probably going to need to have an adjustment in that 45 minutes to an hour, but I've been having fun with it, and the sense of humor is definitely on point by comparison. This is a game with a very sarcastic sense of humor, very caustic sense of humor, very sort of like rolling your eyes like with a one-liner sort of sense of humor, and that kind of works for me because that's basically my wheelhouse. So anyways, let's dive on in. Let's spend about 30 minutes with this preview. Let's see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list, something you wanted to check out, something that you wanted to pass on. Hey, don't those big pipes look like something from the Bureau of Shipping? Yeah, you're right, they do. Maybe 4 or 5 years out of date, but I'd recognize Bureau tech anywhere. I didn't get any memos about the Bureau being here on Wowanope, did you? I forward all my emails to you, so... The Bureau denied all my requests to add Wowanope to my press tour because it doesn't maintain a presence in the Borgalax 5 system. PR said they couldn't guarantee security. Well, unless there's some other reason to keep me away from Wowanope. Well, my 12th sense is tingling. Which one is that? The one for shenanigans, and we're missing something, and I don't like it. And we don't know what in the galaxy void hit us on approach. I wonder if it's related to those pipes somehow. Keep a lookout for any more signs of BS in the area, and we should talk to Grawl about this. So the first Crashlands was pretty heavily narrative-based. It was basically like Don't Starve with a storyline. This game seems to be continuing along that line. The goal of the game is that your character after the first game become like a galaxy-wide hero, like a sort of like Corbin Dallas for what he did on the planet, saving everybody. And so he's been on like a tour for the last 6 or 7 years, but he gets burned out on being famous and he wants to go back to his roots, so he flies back to Wowanope, blows up his ship and crashes again to try to relive the glory days. That's pretty much where we're at right now. As you can tell, visual fidelity has gone up a lot in between here and the first game. The animations are really, really good looking. Like if you see all the different frames that exist for this little bouncing hopper right here, from almost the elasticity he has when he hits the ground into like the way his body cartoonishly changes shape while he's trying to bite you or fight you or anything else like that. This represents a big advancement in the graphical quality in between the first game and this one. And honestly, the graphical quality was never a problem in the first title, so those upgrades are all going to be welcome icing on the cake. For right now, the game seems to have a little bit different of a tempo than the first game. So in the first game, you did a lot of quests, there was a lot of narrative and stuff like that. In this one, there's also a lot of quests and narrative, but it seems to be playing around with sort of like a comfort system. So you meet all these different people on the planet of Wowanope, and they all need you to build them stuff and craft them things, and do the whole like survival chop down a tree routine. But as you build more amenities for them, they get more comfortable, and then they can research like better and better technologies for you. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. When I crash landed onto the planet, my pod smushed a guy's house, and he wants me to rebuild his house for him. So I'm kind of like working on that right now, gathering up all the things that I'm going to need in order to make that happen. In fact, it might not be the worst idea for me to head back over there and just see if there's anything that like I can build for his cabin, because I think that's kind of the goal that they want us working on for right now. So here's the cabin. It looks like we got another dialogue too. Crawl, do you know about the big industrial looking pipes that are dotting the landscape? What are those things for and where are they coming from? I don't know the answers to all your questions. I first saw them out east where where I used to live. Hard to miss them when they're popping up from out of nowhere. Where the pipes are, the withering follows. The withering? That sounds ominous. Not just ominous, that sounds downright sinister. What is that? The withering is some kind of blight that's killing off pieces of Marla's mantle. Those pipes, they show up, and then it's just a matter of time before the expressions of Marla start dying off. Without the expressions, whole groves disintegrate. When did that start? I first saw them pipes, must be around 4 years ago now. Okay, so I need to ask you something personal. Why'd you leave Petalwall? You're digging deep into old wounds, Flux. Sorry, but this is important. When we first met, you thought me and Juicebox were invading aliens. You said that you'd seen an alien invasion before. Cards on the table, I think those pipes are manufactured by my old employer, the Bureau of Shipping. What if they're involved in whatever this withering is? I see. I was on my way back to Petalwall after foraging, and I stopped to make camp. Would have been there already, but I'd taken a leisurely pace and dawdled, and I shouldn't have done that. Woke up in the middle of the night to a bright pink streak across the sky, bright enough to burn the eyes. It was loud, so loud you felt more and heard the sound. I hurried home and left everything and flew as fast as I could, broke a wing tumbling through the back tunnels, but by the time I made it to Petalwall, everyone and everything, it was too late. It was all gone. I should have been there, but I wasn't. I wasn't there. If only I hadn't, if I only could have... Crawl. Look, I can't talk about this anymore right now. I don't know anything else, and I can't help anybody. Go ask Travelers. Atla, maybe. She might know. She can help you. All right, what else you got? Construction's going faster than I thought. Guess you're full of surprises. Yeah, so as you can see here, we've got different researches and things that we can get from different characters. Panflake fat pads. You're telling me these golden delicious mushrooms have a flammable part? Well, you got to do some fancy technique on it to make it really flammable. It's not likely to explode on its own, not like an explungus. But say, if you nab one of those fat pads and bring them here, I'll show you how to get them to light up. Having some torches around here probably wouldn't hurt. Not having torches has been hurting a lot more. I think I stubbed my toe like 10 times already. Then get to it. You won't be able to salvage one from every pancake you come across, but they should be easy enough to collect. Now get! This guy wants me to rebuild his house. I have pop walls, and apparently I can drop those on in. There we go. I don't know if he wants me to, like, put them in any other spots or if that's good enough. Is that good enough? You know, I've been meaning to ask about something. What are y'all doing here on Woanope again? You mentioned visited Grandmammy, but the first chat was a little hectic. I made a pretty big career move recently and finally got some free time for the first time in a long time. Figured it was the perfect opportunity to catch up with old friends. Do you know Grandmammy? Where can I find her? Well, I'm pretty sure just about every Tendrum alive knows Grandmammy, even at a distance. I met her before, but only in passing. Probably won't remember me. Not sure where she's at these days, but Harley might know. As the Alder of Harleypole, she's more than likely been in contact with Grandmammy. Alright, do we have any more researches we can do? Digging up Doit. Okay, so new item drops. We can get rich clay. Gotcha. And then it'll probably unlock something else. What else do we have going on here? I've got some boots, dude. I can get myself a pair of shoes. I mean, the first thing you do when you land on a foreign planet, obviously, is start making laser axes and knives. So I knocked out that prerequisite first. But also having shoes would be pretty cool. I bought shoes just the other day, so, like, I'm in a shoe buying mood. Let's do it. There we go. Let me get them new sneaks, bro. Oh, they're on my footies right now. What do they do, though? It's kind of, like, hard to tell. Oh, they just give me 10 HP. Okay, well, that's perfectly fine then. We've also got, like, a whole bunch of stats and things over here, which is kind of cool. So maybe a little bit of, like, an action RPG leaning as well. In this game, it also looks like there's some kind of perks or something. So at some point, you're going to find, like, big yellow crystals, and it's going to allow you to unlock perks and things down here. I haven't found one yet, but I did notice that pretty quickly inside the menus. I love this run animation. This run animation kind of reminds me of, like, I don't know if you guys ever played Toe Jam and Earl back in the day, but it kind of reminds me of sort of like the bouncy floating way that Toe Jam and Earl characters would move around back in kind of like that mid to early 90s period of like animation. Everything had kind of like a pep in its step. I'm guessing from the dodge animation too, I'm not too far off with that. If you look randomly on the dodge animation right there, there's definitely like a toe jam twirl that they do that looks just like the way Toe Jam used to attack in the old games. And so I'm guessing I may be dead on. Now, these shoes were apparently part of a quest. I was supposed to make these because this fisherman guy over here wanted me to wear shoes on the dock or something. Check out these sweet kicks. They're surprisingly cushy, and I can run through a whole field of creep thorns and not feel a thing. Wow, those pop boots are so little, they're like calf booties. Are all human feet approximately that size? Ah, Flux's feet are huge. Hey, no they aren't. My feet are the exact intergalactic average size for humans aged 25 to 35 Terracol years calculated across all genders. Fascinating. I'll make a note of that. If you have any other armor concepts, I'm happy to volunteer as a test subject. Usually, really, my organs will thank you. Oh, I've got no shortage of ideas. That's the easy part, but I haven't really found a place to work on any of them. I was hoping to use Rosa's workshop, but she can't spare the space. Once I figure that out, I'd love to have a dedicated tester. Quality assurance is such an important part of any process. All right, so we got to go talk to Rosa then. I don't know exactly where she's at, but as you can see, the game has a very lush color palette. They've gone with kind of like these pastel neons that I think give the game actually a good pop and crackle when it comes off the screen. That in combination with like the multi-frame animations that they've installed for just about everything in the game means that I think the game has gotten like a really, really big visual upgrade in between this and the first iteration. It's been a long time since I played the first game, but it's feeling pretty good. You look familiar. Do I know you? By Marla's Rhizomes. It's a walking flower. You don't know me, but if you're Flux Dabbies, you knew one of my Gurmpas. You helped him finish his maps. His name was Carta. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember Carta. So you're one of his sprouts? Yep, carrying on the legacy of making maps, too. I'm Atla. What are you doing out here on Woanope? Last I heard, you left for more lucrative pastures, doing some kind of press tour or something like that. Yeah, something like that. The hero of Woanope was in high demand. She even had an exclusive interview with Scam Likely for the New Gorkian Times, and no one gets Scam Likely. The one where you were quoted as saying you single-handedly saved the planet? Those weren't my exact words. I actually have a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. You got time for questions? Depends. Who is you asking? Or are you asking as the Bureau-sponsored hero of Woanope, or are you asking as Flux Dabbies? I don't work for the Bureau anymore. Interesting. That's not what I heard. Carter was known to be a good judge of character, but I like to form my own opinions, and so far, I don't know enough about you to have one. Tell you what, I've been talking to Harley about charting the recent instability of the mantle. The changes are happening all over. Drove us here from Tetrapole down to the south. The Brain Trust thinks that the pipes have something to do with it. You help me complete the maps that I'm working on, I'll answer your questions. All right, sounds fair enough. Where should I go first? Marlowe's mentioned that the bulls out in Sluggabull Grotto have been more protective of their warrens recently, and something's got them spooked. Keep your eyes open. Report back anything suspicious you find. All right, well, let's have a little look around the neighborhood and see if we can't get started. Honestly, it looks like the village is kind of beat up right now. Looks like it's having a hard time. Does this door open? Oh, nice. It's like a little stone gatehouse. That's kind of cool. The Spark Flats, huh? Is this like a bad place to be? I mean, like, I know those guys are hostile, but, like, I don't have, like, a pickaxe or anything yet either. So there's, like, a lot of things that I can't harvest just yet. That is to say, like, stones, rocks, ores, things of that nature. I do have 17 pancakes, though, just in case I take damage. And they said that I needed to investigate to the south, so off, and away we go. Apparently, the Sluggabulls don't like it when you smack on trees. They are otherwise non-hostile, but it looks like they kind of want to hurt me now. And we're out here in the depths of night, so a little bit of visibility is probably going to be too much to ask. What do we got over here? So that's like a buildable terrain. An ampy? Oh my god. Okay, so we got like new enemy types over here. I like the shape of his little AoE. Luckily, the dodge in this game is actually like super tactile and feels really good. It's like a Hades-feeling dodge that works super great. Unfortunately, that doesn't feel like it moves along to the attack animation. Like every attacking and chopping animation in this game has like a big-ass wind-up on it that makes the whole thing feel clunky-dunky. In my advice, I would recommend getting rid of that and just make it so attacks fire like instantly and just speed up that first lead-in frame. whenever the player clicks, because as of right now, it does lend the game a sort of clunkiness that does not exist in all the other aspects of the game. But that's the one thing that's jumped out at me that I'm like, that probably needs to change. Everything else here seems to be done to a pretty high standard, so we're looking for what pissed off all the sluggables down here, huh? Can I touch that thing? Ooh, there's a crystal-y thing down here, dude. Let's go get it. Let's chop down this brush. Brush chopped. Hell yeah. A juice gem, apparently. Ooh, juice gem! A high purity one, too. Not like the crystallized juice you usually see on Moanope's surface. Who cares? It's shiny. Gimme. I think I'll hold on to it. We both know you can't be trusted with gems. Try to take over the economic system of one space station one time, and no one ever trusts you ever again. Yeah, it's pretty much the way that it goes. We should collect as many juice gems as we can. They're practically universal intergalactic currency. They're also a potent energy source. Gems can be used to embiggen your pets, do your taxes, even power up your Infinisuit. Speaking of, did you file my taxes? Unnecessary. Don't need to worry about that. Nobody ever checks on whether or not you filed your taxes. It's not a real thing. Real life agencies don't care about that kind of stuff. They ignore it entirely. Something is being flagged over here. There's a new enemy right there, too, that I've never seen before. We have hostilities. We have hostilities. All right, the spark flats are actively trying to kill us. With these two actually on a separate attack. Oh, they hurt each other. Nice. Well, that works out pretty well then. I like that there's hostilities in between enemy units, like they wound each other while they're trying to get you. Oh! D-E-D, dead. Apparently, I got obliterated. Apparently, there's a wacky waving inflatable arm tube man in the spot where we died. And we've got to go back and interact with it, maybe to go get our stuff. I don't know. Employee, thank you for opting into the Experimental Employee Retention Program. A terminal event has been detected if you've been transported out of the field for your own safety. Any deliveries you were carrying with your Infinisuit's patented extra-dimensional storage are being safely kept in employee decoy objects for retrieval. Please attend to the packages promptly. On-time deliveries are our highest priority. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and get back down there. We can also buy an upgrade while we're here. I think, like, HP regen is a really good idea. That feels like a solid play, so let's just Infinigem it up. It doesn't look like there's any physical change in the way our character looks. That's okay, though. Not that big of a deal. We're now regenerating HP at a good rate. I'm not gonna lie to you, it didn't feel like I died this far away, but here we are. Let me get my stuff back real quick. All right, so we got our stuff back. It appears to me as though most of these mobs are not actually hostile. Oh, that thing explodes, huh? Or is it just like a plant that fights back? Tough to say. But I do like the game's got kind of like a natural flow to it. What I mean by that is that it feels like there's ecology here. So the animals, they walk around and they attack the resources that they feed off of. And if their attack accidentally hits like another creature, they fight each other and they get into like a big old brawl. I think that gives a nice dynamism to the world. Like, it makes it feel like it's alive. It makes it feel like it's awake with the way that the critters not only react to the player, but they react to the environment. They react to each other. Like, there's a level of kind of, I guess, realism there almost. Or not even realism, just kind of like that believable moment that you first witnessed probably in a game like Doom, where one mob smacks another mob in the back and like, hey, screw you, buddy. And then they all start, like, brawling and ignoring the player. Like, I actually really, really like that. Hey, we found a teleporter, if nothing else, so at least we can get out of here rapidly if we need to. The game does feature fast travel, and it does allow you to get around pretty rapidly. It seems like there's a fast travel point inside of reasonable distances, and they all seem to be next to locations that matter. Oh, they heal each other with lightning. Interesting. So if similar mobs accidentally hit each other, and they have an element that's attached to kind of like their overall attack, then they heal one another. Cool. All right, good to know. This little guy just burst out of the ground while I was walking. Shh, I'm trying to listen. It says that it's an HR scamp bot deployed by not the company you're looking for, which is one of the Bureau's shell corporations. It's here doing ecological research, it says, for research purposes. I'd be careful getting too close. We don't know what kind of protocols they have in place. I got a personal feeling we're going to have to get up close and personal with the scamps sooner or later. The Bureau's in the middle of all this, so we got to figure out what they're doing on Woanope. Is that the little guy? Oh, yeah, he is hostile. He do seem to be kind of cranky a little bit. Here, I'll smack him up. There we go. If I hit him with the walk, they gave me... There we go. I was going to say, they gave me like a walk. Oh, I can slap him too. Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, give me my knife back. Wait, what did I just hit him with? Dude, I hit the wrong hotkey like 5 times. Oh, they do like a little hoppy thing too. Wonder if he drops anything good. Come here. Oh, he doesn't have any drops at all. That's the worst kind of drops. I bet you I can jump across this right here. There you go. You can jump across water if it's thin enough. I'm going to keep on cruising around and just kind of like observing things. We have so many quests and so many things to work on. Hey, pipes. I think we were looking for pipes previously. Oh, I found another juice gem out here. I'll take that for sure. Let me get it. Juice gem. I think we should probably head back to base right about now. That's what I'm feeling deep down inside my stomach. All right, so after talking to everyone in town, it appears as though suspicious activity is taking place out west. So I think that's where we need to go in order to investigate what's happening. Psst, psst. Apparently there's people whispering and stuff inside of there too. So obviously I'm supposed to investigate this, otherwise I'm gonna forget. What are you sprouts whispering about? Well, the purpley flower can help us. You help us, right? Earl. Flux, don't make any promises until you hear the terms of the agreement. We don't want a repeat of Galacticon. The best I can do is a maybe. Me and Warl are responsible for checking on the Sluggababbies in the Cradle Ruin Bannery to the south of Harlepole. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal, even if it's only once a season or so. We make sure the Sluggabuns got enough to forage and aren't getting crowded too much by the Ampibara. But Harley says we're not allowed to go out on our own right now since the Ampies are mad and the mantle's unstable. You want to go check on them Sluggababbies for us? You've probably got other things to do. I mean, I got some itty-bitty squishy-wishy Sluggabunny oneies, no problem, man. Cradle Ruin is easy enough to get to. We stop by Grawl's place for a snack, and then we head south to Bannigan Ranch, Bunnery south of there. We leave Marlabones for the Sluggabuns. Man, this is like, okay. I feel like I'm having a conversation with the Lollipop Guild right now. I don't even know what we're talking about. I know. Flux will borrow your Invisibloom. I guess, sure. The Invisibloom is cool. It's a special flower with a pollen that makes it hard for creatures to detect you. Go on, Warl. Give her the Invisibloom. Be careful with the Invisibloom. It was a present from a friend. All right, well, now we have the Invisibloom, apparently. It's a gadget that'll allow us to avoid aggro, so that'll be good. Oh, yeah, dude. It 100% makes you invisible. There's a couple more researches on Grawl we can take a look at. One of them's creature bait, which means that I might be able, either it's a lure or it's a way for me to tame stuff. I know that there's pets in this game that they were talking about, like in the little presser. So we've got to go out, like, west. So we got to go up and around that way and, like, over there, I think. Well, this way's blocked, so we can't go that way. There's not really a way to pass through what I was pointing out on the map. So I think we're going to have to go around, like, a different side. And those little guys are ravenous, aren't they? It's like all they do is eat. An interesting feature, I had to come back to base in order to make docks so that we can cross water. But an interesting feature here is as you craft a thing, like more and more and more, you get more of a discount, and it gets cheaper and cheaper until eventually you've mastered it and you've got +1 outputs. That's actually kind of a dope feature. I wish a lot more survival games would do that, because think of all the times in like Conan Exiles or some shit that you've been sitting around like mashing out floors and walls for like 50 hours of gameplay, and that activity is like not rewarded. You don't get anything for that. It just kind of moves your building goals along. It's kind of cool to see that almost incentivized in a metagame sort of way. I dig that. So I think this was the spot where it wanted me to build a dock so that I could cross over into the Grumble Plains. And I do like that you have to get a little bit creative with the building utilities too. Like, it seems like the game is less focused on you building yourself like a personal base for right now, but the game world is definitely interactable, where there's certain spots where they want you to build floors and they want you to build bridges and stuff like that. Almost like a little bit of a, I hesitate because this is kind of over speaking, but almost like a Death Stranding kind of feel where you're creating like these little paths and ladders and things that like you don't have the first time around, so the trip takes a long time. But then after that, you know, once you've got your infrastructure set up, it's a lot easier to traverse the map. More pipes near the Slugabunnery. And a lot of withering. Atla will want to know about this, but we should take a look around. Yeah, it looks like the world is dying over here. And so with the withering, none of this is gatherable. Huh. Creepy. Oh, it's an eggy. The poor Slugabuns. The whole bunnery was completely wiped out. Maybe not completely. Is that an egg over there? It's an egg! The poor little egg baby was left all alone. Don't get too attached to it, Flux. Too late, I would die for this egg. Okay, but you don't even know how to care for it. Well, maybe Marlowe back in Harlepole will know what to do with a Slugabun egg. He likes to hover next to that Slugabun pen. That's, I mean, a good idea as any. But I kind of feel like we're running out of time a little bit for the 30-minute video. Thanks to the developers for firing over this exclusive preview of what you've been working on for the last X amount of years. Appreciate it. Crashlands was like intensely popular when it first came out years ago. So I'm assuming there's still a fan base out there that are waiting for Crashlands 2 or maybe didn't even know that it was in development. And so anyways, for me personally, the demo has largely seemed to be pretty good. I've enjoyed it. The only thing is the weird delay on attacks that makes the whole thing feel clunky when you're fighting, but the dodge feels great, so I have no doubt that like they'll get it dialed on in. Other than that, though, it seems like this is kind of like a step up in terms of fidelity. In most respects, the animations feel better, the sound design feels better, the writing's still on point, the game is colorful, it's lush. I want to play it a little bit more. I do actually like the fact, too, that it's kind of like Don't Starve with a storyline. I don't know. I always had a lot of trouble getting into Don't Starve for like 20 or 30 or 40 hours of just like building things just to stop the next wave of like bad guys in the next season or whatever. I kind of dig that this game's got the building and it's got like the survival aspects, but like at the end of the day, it's also got like a lot of storyline and quests and things like that that you can go do. That's honestly what I liked about the first game too. So this is Crashlands 2, which the developers have graciously decided to send on over so that we here at the Nerd Castle could take a look at it first before everybody else. It's a very kind thing to do. Thank you for stopping off. Thank you for watching the video. If you don't know who I am and what I do, my name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what is worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were fooling around with a preview of Crashlands 2. Tomorrow, we'll be fooling around with a demo or a preview or an early access build or a finalized release of something else. Thanks once more to Butterscotch Shenanigans for firing it on over, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Bye, folks.